जय गुरुजी। गुरुजी को कोटि कोटि pranam. um so blessed to be here to share Guruji's Satsang. Thank you, Guruji, for calling me. Thank you, Sevadars. Thank you, Guruji, for just giving me this very blessed opportunity to share how you've completely changed and transformed my life and soul. May whatever you want to be shared be shared. Jai Guruji. So our journey with Guruji began through physical illness, through my physical illness. When I was a very small child, maybe around 5 or 6 years old, I started having these white skin patches. And kahin se, just one day they sort of appeared. We didn't pay much attention. There was no pain or anything, just a skin color thing. And then my mom started noticing, and then it didn't go away. Then it started growing and spreading on my body. And then at some point, my mom said, what is this? It's growing, it's growing. And she's seeing something on her child. So she took me to the doctor. And that began a journey where for the next 15 or so years, I was just in and out of many, many, many doctors. Homeopathic, allopathic, in the Middle East, where we lived, in India, Ganga Jal cure, photochemotherapy, harsh medications, all kinds of things, going vegan, all kinds of things they had done. And by now, I was in college in the US and had completely lost hope and faith in doctors, but was just going through the motions. And obviously had become a young adult by then. So I was just, was used to having something unusual on my body that I was quite used to. And people used to have different reactions. On a college break, when we were in India, just visiting my nani and everybody in Ahmedabad, we went to one last doctor, and mom was still like, after you've gone to college, aur bhi badh gaya, it's more now. So we went to this doctor. We took all the medications, we paid for them, but there was no heart in it. And mom just said, you don't need a doctor, you need a spiritual healer. And that was the readiness or the opening through which Guruji allowed us to come. Whatever had happened was a catalyst for us to connect with his grace. It's only when we realize that in the material world, it cannot meet all of our needs, it cannot solve our problems, is when we turn to God or we seek something beyond material. And so then Sangat uncle, who had known my father through work and other ways, he said, when we expressed this readiness, ki aap, come to my Guruji. So we all went. And the first time we went, we entered this place with really bright lights, loud shabads playing. But yet it was a warm, bright, beautiful place, just full of energy and aliveness, just full of light. So we went and we sat. Uncle who brought us had explained, what we had to do. Aage jaake, we had to, bow our heads to Guruji. We had to greet him. And that head bowing is a surrender to say it's beyond my physical mind, beyond my thoughts. I'm here at your feet. I surrender my intellect at your feet. So we went, and at that time, not everybody used to stay for langar. We heard the shabads. We just kind of watched everything open-eyed. And Guruji asked us to stay for langar. After he gave us that initial prasad with his hands, and we all went outside the hall, had it, washed our hands, came back. Not everyone stayed, and he asked few people to stay for langar. He felt like lucky and blessed. You feel like your guests and you got a special invitation. Okay. So we had the langar. And then Guruji said, Kal aana, meaning come tomorrow. So we said, but Guruji, we are going to Vaishno Devi tomorrow. We had gone to Vaishno Devi, to Mata Rani. For many years, we had climbed the mountain, and Guruji scolded us in front of the whole Sangat and said, वहां जाने तो यहाँ क्या करने आए? Why are you here if you have to go there? Get lost. We were so shocked. It was very jarring to be scolded in front of everyone by a spiritual being. We did not understand who he was or what he was, but we didn't imagine one spiritual being could say, do not go to Vaishno Devi, do not go to another place of worship. But as my parents took it, once someone has said stop, perhaps that journey is not blessed and we should just stop and consider. So after a sleepless night and tossing chips in front of Guruji and all, which by the way, Guruji discourages, so don't do that. But we didn't know any better. We said, there is a blockage. Let's at least go back to Guruji. We can postpone our trip. दोनों काम हो जाएंगे. So we postponed the trip or canceled it or whatever, which is a very big deal for my family to express that much conviction in someone they had just met, कि उनकी बात मान ली, that we listened to what he said from meeting him once and from him saying this once. But there was enough force in it because Guruji knew we are all strong-minded people in our family and we needed that forceful stop or we wouldn't have stopped. I was fully expecting that the way we had gone to many doctors, we would now begin a spiritual journey where we went to many saints. But because of that stop, that didn't happen. So then we went back to Guruji. And right after that scolding, there was a softening. He was very sweet to us. And then he laughingly, jokingly teased, Vaishno Devi wale, the ones who were going to go to Vaishno Devi, you've come back to me. So then we just kind of laughed. And Guruji's journey is like this. His love is humbling and it's also sweet. So if you're willing to be humbled, then you receive this love that is very sweet. So we went back and so began our journey. Long story short, we kept going back. A couple of years passed. Everyone in my family had different amounts of kind of relationship, connection, how they thought about Guruji, how they thought about where we are, what are we doing. I lived the farthest in the US, so I could come the least. And I used to have like FOMO that they're all going, they get to go so much. My mom, my dad, even my sister. But I'm so far, I don't get to go. And this is one of the limitations of the physical form. I didn't realize at the time that Guruji was always with me and I could have just thought about him or known that I had no idea. And I was 19 when I met him. So then these next few years passed while I was in college. Then I had finished my undergrad and I got to spend a little bit of a longer time in India, maybe a month and a half in Delhi itself. And my mom and I were there. We got to go to Guruji 4 days a week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there was Satsang. And we got to go all 4 days and they were the happiest days of my life. Guruji's darbar, Guruji's gathering, Guruji's sangat, his satsang was the happiest place and still is the happiest place in the world for me. I always used to just look forward to going there. I don't know, I didn't know anything consciously then, but I was always somebody who both believed in God and believed in magic since I was a child. And I could tell, I just felt like a level of magical bliss, just happiness. And like, oh, this is a wonderful place. I feel wonderful from deep from the inside all the way till the outside. And there's nowhere else I want to go or be. So I always really looked forward to it. And Guruji had asked my mom to call my nani from Ahmedabad and, keep her in Delhi with us and to bring her to him, which is a huge blessing. And so Nani came, and I also had not gotten to spend that much time with my Nani in my adult life or in general, since we'd grown up in a different country. So that was really special too. And then one day, I had a fight with someone. I don't remember who, I don't remember what the fight was about, but I feel things very deeply. And I was very, very upset. I was so mentally, emotionally disturbed that I could not sleep all night. The whole night, I was just tossing and turning. The way my mind was restless and turbulent, so was my body. And I just had a very, very, very disturbed night. And I remember it was a Tuesday. And at some point, by the like hours of the morning, by like 5 a.m. or so, I started thinking, oh, it's so far, Thursday so far. Just I started yearning to be with Guruji. And I thought that is a wonderful place, is the place that can soothe or ease my pain. That's just where I want to be. It's so far. It's Tuesday now. And then I remembered what people then, even back then, had started saying in the satsang, if you just think about Guruji, he's with you. He's always with you. He knows your every thought. He's omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. He knows everything. These things come to you in your time of need, as he does. He shows himself to you, but he's always there for you, even when he doesn't show himself to you in your time of need. He's been there for you, for all of us, for many lifetimes. I didn't know all of this. But those words came to me, and I thought, Guruji, is it real? Are you there? Are you with me? Just come to me, please. This is no evolved prayer. It's just like a child saying, are you there, God? Are you there? Please be there. And that is all it took. Whatever one sentence, thought, question, ask I made of Guruji, after not sleeping all night till 6 in the morning, in the next second after saying this sentence in my mind, I fell asleep. That in itself is hugely powerful, that Guruji was waiting to be called, was waiting for me to recognize the power of prayer, the power of calling to him. It did not even take 1 second. And he was there. I fell asleep and I had my first darshan of Guruji that is in this form. That is my vision of Guruji. That's not even my vision. That's he appeared to me in a magical way. He came in my dream for the very first time and he met me in a playground, and he was in his full swaroop, in his like full chola, his like flowing robes. And I was my whatever age I was then, early 20s. And I'm just playing on the various like swings and slides and play structures. And he's there and he's laughing and I'm laughing. And we are like two best friends, and there's nobody else in the playground. We're just best friends who are having the best time to be together, just happy and laughing. And that was the whole darshan. And I woke up so transformed, just completely filled with joy, filled with delight, filled with love and connection, a sense of connection to Guruji, this sense of magic. I called you and you came to me, and you came to me like this, and you just make me happy in an instant. I was so in awe. I was so in love. And that just began our journey that has never ended and may it never end. That love has only deepened over the years and taken many shapes and forms and just continues to flow and to grow. And that was the first dream darshan, as we say. So after that, I started having a little bit more eye-opening, a little bit more faith and confidence that, oh, Guruji is magical. He is there. When you think about him, he does appear. Wow. Perhaps a smarter person would have called to him every day and been with him every moment of every day. And I was still in my 20s and just living my life and not thinking that much. And I'm still working on, now I intellectually know he's there all the time. he still has to show me, and his presence shows up in many ways. So then, in this time period, maybe I was around 22, 23. I had a boyfriend in college. Guruji started saying to me, "Tu vyah kar, get married." He started saying to my parents, and I am the younger of two sisters. So by Indian norms, my parents, family, everybody was like, the elder sister has to get married first. And Guruji always used to also pose this contradiction to us when me and my sister, who's much taller, would come to Guruji. Guruji would look at us and say, "Tu vadi hai ki choti? Tu vadi hai ki choti?" Which means, are you elder or younger? Are you bigger or smaller? In that sense. And we thought, this is a very confusing, simple question, because he obviously knows everything and this is a very basic thing. He knows this. Why is he asking us this question? I don't have an answer, but it was one of his mysteries and just his ways of communicating. So, anyways, he started pushing for this, that I should get married first. So, for a long time, we just kind of ignored him, to be very honest. We could not think beyond social norms. And we were like, no, I'm younger, I'm in grad school, all that stuff. By then, I went on to grad school. So, but I kind of worked on it. I tried to convince my boyfriend at the time, who was not connected to Guruji. I said, Guruji said we should get married, so we should get married. But anyways, as things turned out, it was a couple more years before that happened. And by that time, things changed so much in me and between us that marriage was over before it began. And in 2007, when that was happening and I was going through the biggest crisis in my life, Guruji took Samadhi. And that was a heartbreak and a devastation and like a loss of the ground beneath my feet at a time when I just didn't know what in the universe could hold me. And I just didn't know how to continue life. And I didn't want to be alive. But by then I had received, there were no pictures of Guruji. We were not allowed to have pictures of Guruji when he was in his physical form. He did not let us get that attached to his physical form. But in just the months prior to his leaving his physical body, shedding it consciously, I had received a calendar that had a picture of Guruji. It's not like this picture where he's smiling and blessing. It was a picture where he looked a lot more grave, a lot more serious. And every day I would look at this picture and I would see his sadness, his anger, and I would just look at him and he would look at me. And that was it. That kept me going. Guruji reaches you where nobody can reach you. Ultimately, we're all alone in the sense of being a soul on our own journey through this life. And a soul's journey is that soul's journey. Of course, we are all connected to the divine light and all, the great soul. I don't even know the words, I can't even fathom. But when you are in your own dark night of the soul, he is the only light. And he is a light that never leaves you. So there he was, just every day, going through all my pain and shame. He was there, just witnessing everything. He knew the destruction that was to come and he tried to prevent it. So when Guruji tells you to do something, what we call hukum, his command, his word, we must listen to it immediately. The only time in my life that Guruji allowed me to do his charan seva, which is to press his feet, I got to touch his divine charan, and I was totally unprepared. My hair was open, my dupatta was unpinned, everything was like falling everywhere. So I was just doing this, and then I was doing this. I did such a bad job of charan seva. So, a slight note that go to satsang in a way, manage your physical body in a way that is not distracting to your meditation. Tie your hair back or whatever. Your dupatta should be an asset to meditation and not a distraction from meditation. So in that time, it was in the after hours, Guruji called me. He was sitting on the floor. My mom was to his right, I was to his left. And as I was doing the Charan Seva, he said something to me. I didn't understand. I was like, Mummy, what is he saying? And then mom started laughing and she said, he's saying, Bhag ke shadi kar le. He's saying you should run away, you should elope. And I was so shocked. I was like, wow. So even I started laughing, and as laughing, we ignored it. But that is the level of faith one needs to have in Guruji. If he tells you to elope, you should elope immediately. Whatever he tells you to do, we should do it immediately. Guruji, when we come to him, every person, he x-rays your soul. Your entire soul is visible, and your entire soul's journey so far is visible. And based on those currents that we have accumulated, what is going to happen is also something he completely knows. When he tells us to do something, it's a tiny aversion, perhaps, on the path of your destiny that can then take you in a much different direction than if you had kept going. That's the whole point. When you come to a Puran Guru, a complete Guru, he can spare you from the worst of your destiny. He can soften the blows. And he can turn your soul towards evolution, more towards him. And even a tiny bit of that grace can have a massively profound impact on your life. And we would be fools not to receive it. We are ignorant. We obviously don't know what we don't know, and that's natural and normal and human. And that's where the surrender part comes in. This brain can only know and hold so much. Kal kya hua tha? What happened yesterday, today in my life? We don't know about our past lives. We barely remember 5 years ago, particularly the ones where we did wrong to someone else and they are hurt and they're holding on to it. We didn't even notice. So this, divine tracking of who has to, you could think of it as pay off debts. Yes, that is a karmic kind of thing, theory. It's also balance. It's like, if I've hurt someone and I don't know what it's like to be hurt, when I'm hurt in the same way, I understand, I feel it. And that's how I learn. That's how children learn too, right? They're happy to kick something and like pull my earring. If you pull there something, they'll know, babies know, like it hurts. That's how, that's how humans are taught compassion, tenderness, empathy. It's important for us to learn that. Only when we learn empathy and compassion do we learn to be non-violent and non-harmful. Guruji has said 3 things. All religions are equal. God is one. Take time out of your daily life for spirituality and go out of your way to help people. If you cannot help people, walk away. Don't hurt people. To just practice this is a profound life guidance. And in order to help people, or at the very least not harm people, we go back to this principle, right? Of empathy and compassion. We know what it's like to be hurt, so then we would not hurt someone else. So, anyways, Guruji tried to avert my destiny in many ways. I didn't listen, and I didn't understand the power of his grace. So I went through whatever I had to go through, and I got divorced, went through a lot of family conflict, crisis, and went through some very difficult years at the same time that he had dropped his physical form. And we felt abandoned. I think the people who had seen him in his physical form felt lost, without gravity, just loose atoms in space, like no meaning, no purpose, no grounding, no sense. And the grief was both boundless and indescribable, because how we had never talked about him. We only met people in India, in the Satsangs. So it was like this secret community that was small and sparse. I luckily had one other Sangat family in Seattle where I was living at the time, so I could share this grief with them. I could go to them. But when people are seeing you break down and fall apart, and they're saying, but why are you crying? Who is it? Is it your grandfather? Is it your relative? And you don't even know how to begin to describe who he is and what he means to you and what this loss means. There are just no words. But what that did was, it forced us to talk about Guruji, which is what it is to do satsang, is to talk about Guruji's grace. To talk about Guruji in any way is to talk about his love, talk about his power, to talk about his kindness, his scolding, his eyes, his everything. It's just all aspects of him, and there are infinite aspects, but all of them, talking about the one you love brings you closer or brings your loved one closer. So, in a way, in every way, Guruji leaving his physical body broke something that needed to be broken, which was an illusion that he's contained to his physical form and that he cannot reach people who are not in India or not in some particular physical location. It broke the boundaries of what's possible. He became much more, he was always limitless. We had a limitation in our minds as to what we thought Guruji is able to do or who he is or where he goes. So Guruji just expanded our minds, our love, our sense of possibility. And as we were grieving and talking to people who didn't know who he was and explaining who he was and having his swaroop and lighting the jyot, people started feeling his presence. His fragrance was there. His blessing was there. I remember an auntie in Satsang, now that Usha auntie and MP uncle had started, essentially began this grieving process that even I could join, and other people, their family, friends were around, and they shared, who's Guruji? They started feeling the lightness and blessing of Guruji. One auntie who said that she had been depressed her whole lifetime suddenly felt like the darkness had lifted. And then in 2 weeks, she just started smiling and felt lighthearted, which hadn't happened in 50 plus years. This is nothing short of what one might call a miracle or an incredible meharbani, grace. That just talking about Guruji can lift the darkness one has been carrying in their heart and soul for a lifetime. That's how divine and profound a drop of his light is. We have to just allow it in. And I think people who had no preconceived expectations could allow it in more. We had to let go of some things, had to do some unlearning to allow it in more. Anyways, after that, with the formation of satsang, this gathering of people who became his devotees, his followers, his lovers, his, beloved children, his satsang, his sangat, we all started to grow that light. That light grew and we could all receive it. So I started going every week. At first it was hard, but then it became more regular. I started going every week to satsang in Seattle. That hadn't happened before, that we could just go to a satsang where we lived. We thought it was only in one particular physical place across continents. But no, this is the first ways Guruji started breaking through our minds, breaking through new possibilities. Just being able to go to satsang was a huge blessing. And so instead of a couple of times a year, we were able to go once a week. We just went there. I felt like it cleaned out my heart and soul just every week. And like, darkness poured out and light poured in. And then it was Guruji's birthday, one of those years, 2007, 2008. And Sangat had come from different parts of the US, maybe from abroad as well. I don't remember. People had come to Seattle for the celebration. There was a program with, offering dance and poetry and singing, the way Guruji did. And there was a satsang. And then later on, after all of the kind of planned program parts were over, Sangat was sitting around, sharing. It's like the slumber party, after party vibes. Jab log baithe hain and it feels so good. You're just gathering, you're just fulfilled with love and joy and connection. By connecting to Guruji's satsangs and other sangat who are talking about him and sharing about him, we grew our love together. And so I wanted to hear what other people were saying. It's like this beloved, I just want to know him more. Just tell me more. Tell me anything about him. And, but I also had been in satsang now for a little bit, and it started to have that tiny feeling like, Guruji, am I worthy? Like, can I do something for you? Can I do seva? I want to do seva. But I didn't think I knew how to do anything. I knew some basic amount of cooking, but it would take me like 2 hours to make one dal. So that was not ready for langar level. I just thought, Guruji, what can I do? I want to do some seva. So I was asked to drive one Sangat member home. And I was very lucky to receive that seva. But look how Guruji does. He made it so that I had wanted seva, but it's a test also. Are you ready for seva? Can you be selfless, right? Seva is it is a labor of love in service of God, humanity, the light. So it's a labor, it's an action. Just the way birth is a labor, creation, but it's also love, and it is for a higher purpose. It's not just your own, as like, I want seva, that is mine, I will feel worthy. But Guruji gave me this seva to drive someone when I actually wanted to sit there and just receive, right? To listen to what are the Sangat who are here, who have spent time with them sharing. So I felt torn. Even though I wanted to do seva, I wanted to listen. And sometimes that's choice. You can't do both. You can't receive and contribute at the same time. And I had said I wanted to contribute. So I said, oh, Guruji. Then I said, oh, it's that moment. Guruji, let's go together. I'll go do this driving seva. Come with me. I don't want to leave you. I just didn't want to leave you. So I said, come with me. And on my shawl that I was wearing, shawl dupatta jo bhi pehna tha, Guruji's fragrance wrapped around that shawl. Instantly, as I said, come with me. And I just lit up and I was able to do it. I felt so happy. Guruji heard me immediately, responded immediately. And I was happily able to accept the seva and leave the satsang knowing that I was leaving the satsang, but I was not leaving Guruji. Guruji can go everywhere with everyone all the time. And we just have to practice that muscle until it becomes super ingrained. So I left and dropped Auntie home, and that beautiful fragrance, Guruji's presence, stayed wrapped around my heart the whole time. I came back, and when I came back and rejoined the satsang, the fragrance dissipated. And it was incredible. You could think it's so small, but these lessons are life lessons. If you can internalize one lesson and embody it every day, it is a profoundly different relationship to Guruji and a profound change in yourself and your life. And it had taken me years to just do that one thing, Guruji, be with me. I literally hadn't done it since that night of the dream darshan. So then began the next phase of our journey, where every Thursday after satsang, when I had to leave and go home, where I now lived alone, I didn't want to leave, but I wanted Guruji with me. And every time Guruji would wrap around in the fragrance of my shawl and come home with me and drop me home. And one of the first times this happened, I went home and there were a few steps leading up to the apartment building where I lived. And those steps were covered in red rose petals. I mean, Guruji's love is so divine, so romantic even. I mean, red roses, that's what's associated with him. He literally had like bichhowed red rose petals. So there could be no mistake. There are no coincidences. He's like, yes, my love, I am here. You are home with me. And it's been a lifelong lesson that Guruji has been teaching me, that I am never alone. None of us who are connected to Guruji, all of us who are connected to Guruji, are beloved to Guruji. हम सबसे गुरुजी इतना प्यार करते हैं. His love is abundant and infinite for all of us. There is no more or less or for him, I don't think. He just like loves us. And so if you want, asli cheese, what he calls asli cheese, the real thing, the real treasure, it's this love, loving him. It's right here. It's available to everyone anytime. Abundant and free. So then began forming this relationship to his non-physical presence beyond the satsang. So he's always there in the fragrance. I start seeing rose petals in my apartment. The first time I saw a yellow thread formed in a shape of a heart on the ground in the carpet in my home. One time I found a red rose petal, fresh, where there were no roses, behind the TV cabinet. Different kinds of things, small but significant. You can nazarandaz, like you're like, oh, okay, not a big deal, that happened, I didn't really notice. Or you can really take it in and be like, something profound is happening. There is a rose petal has appeared out of nowhere in the house. So like this, it kept going. And as my love for him, and jab sab saath chhod dete hain, like when everybody leaves you or you leave everybody, and Guruji is still with you, that love really deepens. And so by the time a future birthday came around, maybe it was the same birthday and confused the years, I said, Guruji, I want to offer you something. How can I show you that I love you? And what can I give you who has everything and who gives everything? And that's how somehow the idea of dance was planted. I had seen on functions in Bara Mandir in different occasions, like there'd be dancers or there'd be singers. I had mostly seen the dance programs, and I have a deep love of and relationship to and connection to dance. So I thought, okay, this is, I felt, I think, and I still do feel embarrassed or shy about fully expressing my love for Guruji. But in satsang sharing, I do, because it's so important to name this beautiful blessing that is available to us all. So I'm sharing it for you as Guruji wants it shared. So everyone can have this beautiful love. But on the daily, it's not something I just go around expressing all the time. But dance is a way to offer that, to do that. It's like these divine gifts. They're, right, Saraswati ji, they are a blessing. Whatever talents we have, they're from God, and therefore, and they please God, right? Isi ko leela kehte hain, right? Divine play is like when they're singing and dancing in joy, that pleases God too. So I thought, okay, let me offer this. And bada dar ki, I was quite nervous about it, but I offered something that I felt deeply as movement, as dance at Guruji's birthday. And then it became a tradition between us, just an annual birthday gift, if you will. Or I was like, this is what I can offer. And some years I didn't do it. Since then, I was sick, or I was sad, or I just couldn't move my body, or, life had me down. And I always regretted it when I didn't do it. And I always felt happy and satisfied, like, yes, I'm doing my purpose, I'm doing my commitment, I'm doing my part with Guruji. Wo sab kuch dete hain. He gives us everything, and he does everything for us all the time, 365 year round, 24/7. This one day, a few times a year, can we offer something? Can we just take in and say, let me try, even though it sounds imperfect, and could it possibly be enough? But to him, it matters. Like when you just think about Guruji with love and bring him a flower, a rose, and you say, I thought about you. Or if you offer a dance or a song or whatever it is, or you just say, whatever is in your heart to him that expresses your love. In your mind, you can say it. It matters. It matters to Guruji that he is also loved, and that love is expressed to him in a way that is authentic to you. And each of us has to find our own way in that journey, because each of us is unique and our relationships to him will be unique. So, and he keeps shifting form. He's been there as, mother, father, friend, brother, sister, lover, partner, everything. He's everything. Even child, like everything. He can be in every form, and he's formless, and he's much more. And ultimately, he's a guru, he's a teacher. He teaches you with love and patience everything for your spiritual evolution. Not simple answers like, okay, here's this, you should do this. Then you just do the thing. Okay, Guruji, I have this job offer, this job offer, what should I do? But he teaches you everything. He teaches you how to make decisions. So, anyways, I'll come back to the concrete satsang sharing that the job brings me to. So by now it's a few years past in Seattle. I'm finding my grounding. I'm going to satsang. I'm evolving spiritually. I'm cleaning up my mess. I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm humbled. I'm repenting. I'm changing. And I'm also recognizing my true soul, my true self, who I am, what I want, what I have to do. And it's not an easy journey, but figuring it out with this weekly satsang and other forms of support. Guruji has placed me exactly where I need to be. There's a satsang in that city in order to have this process of growth and evolution. And when we have the intellect, the resources, we should use them to grow, to learn, to keep being his disciple. So then I had been at this job for many years, and it had become painful and draining. I used to work in anti-domestic violence work. And I loved it at some point, and I did a lot of meaningful work that I cared about. And then I was also burned out and wanted a break. I applied for this other job that would have been a change in my organization, but it still would have been in domestic violence. But I just wanted to change my organization. I was so burnt out there. And I became a finalist in this other job. But at the very end, I didn't get it. And then I was super disappointed. And it was one of those moments I was like, so close, but didn't get it. And then what can you do? But just like surrender, wait. Then this would have been towards the beginning of the year, in the first kind of 3-4 months of the year, that I applied and didn't get it. Some months passed. Then it was Guruji's. Oh no, a different thing happened first. Many magical job blessings happened. Okay. So I had a friend visiting. I had to go to satsang. So I dropped a friend who was staying with me to another friend's house. And I said, okay, I'm going to satsang. When I come back from satsang, I'll pick up this friend who's staying at my house. And in the meantime, we were talking, and this person is like vegetarian. She's a very kind woman. She does a lot for people. And it just felt like you're a good soul. You're a great soul. And that day when I came back from Satsang, I thought, what can I offer her? And it was like langar. So I brought her langar. I just thought, may she be blessed and have some ease. She's doing so much for everybody. Unka bhi kuch acha bhala ho jaye. So that's it. I just told her, this is blessed. Eat it. It's vegetarian. I didn't say a whole lot. Probably I would have said who Guruji is and what Satsang is. So then a few weeks later, I get a call from her, someone in her company, and she sort of talked to me, I'm looking for a job, and she's like, oh yeah, we're looking to hire. I was like, oh, but I'm not qualified for your position. Anyways, a few weeks later, I see that job description go out, and I really read it carefully. I consider it, and I realize I'm completely not qualified for it. So I don't apply. So, okay. Then a few more weeks pass. I get a call from someone else in her company, and they say, Nitika, we'd like to interview you for this position. And I said, what? But I didn't apply for this position. She said, we know, but still we'd like to interview you. And I said, but I'm not qualified for this position, because I'm painfully honest in that regard. Or maybe it's a combination of honesty and underconfidence, but I don't know. I just was like, but I'm not qualified. This person is still trying to give me every chance, and she's saying, just come for the interview. I said, okay. So I go for the interview. It's three friends have made a startup. Teen, right? Trinity. And they are going to hire only one person who's going to assist them in their work. The person will be working out of someone's home office, so basically her condo, which overlooks the water. I just have a desk facing the Pani, Lake Washington. And even though they're a tiny startup and they have no need to sponsor a visa and all of that, they will do it. I go to this interview. I frankly confess to having none of the skills that they're looking for. And they proceed to hire me and sponsor my visa. ये कौन करता है? How this story makes no sense. And this is Guruji's reality. This is just one of a million blessings, Guruji. He just pulled me out of whatever I had to be pulled out of and gave me something better when it was time. If I had gotten that other job that I had applied for 6-9 months before, I would have still been in the same field doing domestic violence work, which was, sorry, just checking one thing, charger, which was still very draining for me, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. But this job was 4 days a week. It was part-time with good pay, good benefits, good people, much more low-key, low pressure. They did the visa. I could take a break. I had become very ill by then, also physically. I had a lot of health stuff going on. And the best part, 1 month into the job, we had a work retreat in Mexico in a villa with 12 bedrooms and a swimming pool and what not luxury. I mean, Guruji जैसे कहते हैं ना कीचड़ से निकाल के, like he takes you out of the mud. And there's that other phrase which says no mud, no lotus. A lotus, the kamal, it grows out of the mud and it needs the nutrients of the mud in order to become its transcendental self. Guruji just literally took me out of all of the muck and placed me in this beautiful luxury, easy job, nice people, everything. And the magic, it was endless magic. So I went. It was amazing. वो सब ठीक है. So in my, one of the partners used to own the condo that I used to work out of. And at my desk, I had a small swaroop of Guruji because he's always at my work desk. He's everywhere. But having his picture is nice to look at. So one day, I go home and I go back to work the next day. And my boss tells me, Nitika, I had a dream about you. I said, Acha, what is the dream? She said, I saw you, you're sleeping in your bed, and there's a man who's bald, who's standing beside your bed, and he's like waving his arms around or like doing something. And I just looked at the picture of Guruji on my desk and I said, was it him? And she said, yeah, it was him. ऐसे होते हैं Guruji. Like, he's so amazing. He came, like, he didn't show me the darshan. We are all connected. He gave my boss, who has no belief in Guruji, a darshan to show me that he was watching over me when I sleep, that he's blessing me when I'm completely asleep. And if he had come in my own dream to show me this darshan, who knows how I would have received it. But it was extra powerful to receive it from my boss who has no connection to satsang or sangat. Just incredible. So many ways Guruji showed me over and over until I could believe that he's always with me, day and night. Not only when I say, Guruji, please come with me on the drive, he's with me when I'm asleep, when I don't even think to say anything, when I'm not even conscious. Guruji was trying to always show me that he's always with me, but it took me a long time to understand that. So, yeah, then I get this magical job. Guruji continues to bring some more blessing, healing, ease into my life. Then I kept getting sicker. So, what had happened in this time period? White skin patches were stable, vitiligo, leukodema, whatever you call it. But I had ended up in the ER with this massive pain, and something had happened. And it looked like maybe a cyst had ruptured. And so I got hospitalized. I was on a morphine drip. I was in incredible pain. And I had always been in incredible pain when I got my period since I was 9 years old. That whole journey had been an invisible one. From the outside, nobody could tell. There were no visible markers of the level of pain I was in, and there was no understanding. And as people often say to girls and women, oh, you're sensitive, like you're sensitive to pain. So people did not take the pain level that seriously, but I was in an enormous amount of physical pain every month since I was like 9. So, and it used to be so bad every month that I used to have to miss school every month. And even the school nurse used to say, oh, this is your 4th day. It shouldn't hurt that much, which shouldn't, but it did. So much pain. And I never asked anyone, I never did anything. It was just like a known thing. There was just like a lot of horror stories. This went on for like a long time. So at this time period, I'm around, I don't know, in my later 20s, I've ended up in the ER. The cyst has ruptured. And then slowly I started going to the doctors. And then they discovered that I had endometriosis. And I'm not kidding. I must have gone to the ER 20, 30 times in the next few years in Seattle. I was constantly in and out of the hospital. In this time period, I had a snowboarding accident and I broke my rib. I had I had a kidney stone. I had to call 911 and the ambulance came and took me to the ER. And I went through a lot of intense things in my body. And I just went through a lot of medical systems again. But now it was a different reason. It was not the original thing. Jiske liye we did not go back for medicines for vitiligo. I was on so many medications again, so much was happening. I was really unwell. Then I had a surgery and they did some kind of a laparoscopic, like cyst removal. I had a darshan of Guruji. I was sleeping, I was dreaming, and in my dream, Guruji is sitting on his than, and to his right, someone is sitting and pressing his like hand or foot, and I'm sitting on his left side, and I'm also doing some charan seva or hat seva, pressing either his hands or his feet. And Guruji clearly said to me, "Ye mera cyst hai." He said, in his words, "This is my cyst." It was his cyst, not my cyst. Because everything I am his, everything is mine is his. My problem is his problem. My life is his. He just said, "Ye mera cyst hai." That's how Guruji held me through all of that trauma. I just remember he's with me, and whatever is my problem is his problem. Still, I tried to deal with my problems as best as I could. And still, I just had the weekly satsang recharge in whatever ways I could be with him. Then more time passed like this. I was coming to the close of my second job. That job was like a break. It was like an easy job. I learned a lot. I got a lot of exposure. I didn't do very much. Guruji just gave me like a little bit. I needed to have a job because I had a visa. And so I couldn't be totally unemployed and chilling. So Guruji, while so many things destructed in my life, like marriage, family, so many things, friendships, my health, things just exploded left and right. But that foundation, having a job and a visa, in that sense, Guruji always gave me a ground to stand on. He gave me some independence, some way to build a life and some self-respect within that. He gave me financial stability and immigration stability, which always at that time in the US and now continues to be a major blessing. There are no coincidences. Nobody calls you and says, "You didn't apply for a job, let me give it to you on a visa." It's unheard of, except in Sangat. I've heard this satsang from other people and their experiences as well. So then one day, it was Guruji's birthday again. Guruji's special occasions, the functions, as they say, they're days of maha blessings. They're days of massive significance and massive blessings. Just know that. Be open to it. I'm not saying go looking for it or ask for anything. Show up to it. Bring your full presence and your full love to it because they are very significant. Guruji's birthday, New Year's Eve, Baisakhi, Guru Purnima, and I think few others. I don't know. Baisakhi, Lodi, Diwali, I guess. So 4 or 5 days that are hugely significant for Guruji's blessings and presence, where portals open and something is available for whoever he wants to bless and if they're ready and able to receive. So on Guruji's birthday, I always take a spiritual holiday, and I just immerse in the magic of Guruji's birthday as a national holiday. So the whole day I'll be practicing my dance or choosing my outfit or, talking to my family. There will be satsang in different places, just be connecting to the vibration of that. So that day also I was doing this, and I get a call from somebody who works at this nonprofit that I'm involved with as a volunteer. And then this person says to me, something, voice message. Maine suna. And I just said, "Hey, today is a day of a spiritual holiday. It's a very significant day for me. So I won't call you back today. I'll call you back tomorrow." He said, "Okay." I just texted him or something. So then we went, had a beautiful Guruji's birthday. And then the next day, I called this person. And he said to me, "Oh no, here's a small thing that happened 3 months before that. In April of 2011, I had gone for a conference from Seattle to Washington, D.C. at that conference, I met several people that I knew, and some of them were going back to New York. And I just, in a moment's passing, said, like a heart switch, I was like, oh, I wish I was going to New York. I had applied to grad school in New York and had gotten in to Columbia, and I had chosen to go to University of Washington for other reasons. That was where my destiny was to unfold. And you see, that is one of the first places where the satsang happened. And I met a lot of the people who shaped my life and are still in my life, were huge anchors and changed the course of my life. So, but that wish had always been there. I had done a summer program in New York when I was an undergrad, and I'd always had this love of New York. And I just said, oh, I wish I was going to New York. It would be so easy. I'd just drive down with this crew and I'd have this fabulous life in New York. So this person says to me, why can't you? And it was like a lightning bolt of truth, as my friend calls it. Like, dimag ke darwaze khul gaye. I just suddenly saw a possibility that I had not seen before. Something just opened up, and I thought, yeah, I'm single and untethered. Why not? This could be my chance to leave this place, this cocoon that I had transformed a lot. And it was time to kind of leave the nest and fly, go somewhere else, be my next self. So it just planted the seed. I went back to Seattle and I started telling everyone, I'm moving to New York. They said, why? Have you gotten a job? And I said, no, but I'm moving to New York. I had this conviction, like I suddenly saw the next step in my future. I just had clarity for whatever reason, ki yehi rasta hai. This is the way. So I started just following that clarity, intuition, conviction, I don't know what you call it, Guruji's will. The opening Guruji provided, I had not thought of it. Somebody had to plant the seed. And that to me indicates like our minds are limited. We only think what we thought yesterday. 99% we think the same things. For a new thought to enter, sometimes Guruji comes from someone else. Non-sangat, sangat, koi farak nahi padta. Doesn't matter if they're part of your specific spiritual community or known as sangat or not. The divine is in everyone, and that message will come from anywhere because we are this massively interconnected network. So after that, 3 months had passed, and it was on this Guruji's birthday, this person called me. The next day, July 8th, I called him back and I said, what's up? He said to me, we have this office that has a satellite office in Seattle, but our headquarters is in New York. We are starting a new position. We think you'd be perfect for that position. Would you like to take this job? This is now the second time in 2 years somebody is calling me to give me a job I have not applied or interviewed for, and a job that didn't even exist, a position that didn't even exist, and it's based in New York. If you don't call that Guruji's will or alignment, if you can't see Guruji's power and alignment in that, I don't know what it would take. So I said, that sounds like a dream job for me. Absolutely, I'd love to. But then he said a couple of things that were not aligned. He said, okay, it's part-time. So you'd stay in Seattle, keep your current job and take this job part-time. And this would be the salary and blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, that won't work for me or my health. I can't keep two jobs. It doesn't move me out of Seattle into New York. I need a full-time job in New York and a visa. You need to sponsor my visa. Otherwise, I can't do it. And then he said, okay, let me check with the board. I'll get back to you. I said, okay. So very hopeful and excited because this call came on Guruji's birthday and is a magical blessing like the other job I had received a year and a half prior. And I thought, ye to Guruji ki marzi hai. This is Guruji's will. It's very hopeful and excited. A couple of weeks pass. This person calls me back and he's like, sorry, Nitika, we don't have the funding right now to make it full-time or to place you in New York and the visa and everything. I was like, oh, bummer. Okay, no worries. Even then, what I took from that is Guruji's will is pointing me and is opening the doors towards New York. This is going to happen. I'm going to end up in New York. It's a matter of time. Guruji is affirming that direction. I take the whole experience as a sign that on Guruji's birthday, he gave me the hope. He's saying, yeah, go for it. I'm making a way for you, or there will be a way for you. So I was slightly disappointed, but I was also very encouraged. Some more months passed. I didn't really apply to any jobs. And one, obviously, the obvious thing is like one would say, you should do your part. Maybe my part in that moment, what I could do was conviction and just continuing. Like the level of belief, for some reason, faith, I really don't know what to call it. It was like I knew. I stopped making plans with people for after October. I was like, in December, like when it's winter in New York, I'd heard about winters in New York. I was like, it's very cold. So probably I'd like to get there and get settled by October or so. So that, I'm like well set up by the time the winter comes around. So if people said like, oh, do you want to make this plan? Or what? I said, no, I'll probably be gone by then. And people would still be like, did you get a job? Did you apply for a job? No, no. Okay. Now it's September, still nothing. One day, out of the blue, I get a text from the same person from July. And he says, a text, Nitika, we have a full-time offer for you. It'll be based in New York at our headquarters. We will sponsor your visa. You are still our dream top candidate. Is this still your dream job? I mean, kya bolu? It's when you have been loved like that, you understand the depth of Guruji's love. I just like fell to my knees. I exploded with delight. I was so happy. I was so amazed. The awe, the magic, I just couldn't believe it. And just think about it. I did nothing, communicated with them zero in the past 3 months. We didn't work on it. We did not stay in touch. It came out of nowhere from me. I had let it go. And they had been working on it. I think one thing I would like to say about this is not that don't make your effort, but have faith that things are unfolding in their own time. Have patience. Guruji is working on it. You don't need to stress. You need to live calmly, happily. You don't need to stress. So then this magical manifestation, I don't know what to call it, blessing appears. And then I go to the next satsang that I'm going to. I take a bouquet of yellow roses because for some reason I've associated that yellow is the color for gratitude. Like red roses is love, orange roses is, I don't know, something else. So I'm like, oh, this is the color for gratitude, Shukrana. I go there, I'm so full of love and awe and gratitude. I bow down to Guruji at the satsang. I offer the roses. My heart is pouring out. No words make it out of my mind or heart or anything. I'm just like speechless. So I'm like, Guruji ko to sab pata hi hai. He knows everything. So I'm communicating wordlessly. I have no words. I'm just like flowers and love and like at his feet. I'm like, you know everything in my heart. So then we go through that satsang. That night, Guruji comes in my dream. He's sitting on an armchair with his legs spread out on an ottoman. And he says, and this has happened before where I have seen him sitting on a bed with his legs spread out. And I'm so often dumbstruck in my dreams also that the first time I saw him sitting like that on a bed, I just looked at him and I just said, Guruji. And really, like an idiot, I stood there. I didn't bow down to him. I didn't touch his feet. I didn't say namaste. I didn't say anything. I just said Guruji. I just stood there. So I was like, oh my God, I really must do better next time. So this time, when I see him sitting on the chair with his legs on this, I think it was yellow or beige, this chair and ottoman, his feet are, just like if you're sitting straight and your feet are up like this, I just grab around his feet like they're a bouquet of flowers. I just grab them. I'm like, remember to touch his feet. I just grab them and I'm like, gee, that's as far as I get. I don't remember to say anything else. So then he says, he's laughing. He knows I'm an idiot. And he says, Shukrana bhi nahi keh sakti thi. He's saying, you couldn't even say Shukrana. And that is literally true. I couldn't say it. I was speechless. And then I'm like, oh, he had to come so lovingly to tell me to say Shukrana. And I said, oh, Shukrana, Shukrana, Shukrana. What basic teaching. He's eternally teaching and patient and loving and forgiving and lighthearted and graceful and gracious. He had to come. He understood my intention, Shukrana, but I did not say Shukrana. And for whatever reason, that also matters, that we acknowledge him in the blessing we've received, that we say, I know this has come from you, entirely from you. So he had to teach me. And these are all the words I said. Guruji, Shukrana, Shukrana, Shukrana. That's it. That's the dream darshan. I wish I had said more complete sentences that were more respectful and loving and the way I could. And this is why I feel so grateful and like a chance to do it better and do it right when I get to share his satsang, because I was so foolish. I was so naive. I didn't know so many things about how you have to treat or thank Guru, your beloved Rab, like God, who's also your friend and champion and is there with you like all the time. I'm still learning. And even in very recent satsangs in the last 1 week, I have learned so much about things I could be doing better or differently. I'll come to it. In regards to the satsang itself and to how we welcome and treat Guruji in satsang. I'm learning so much. There's constant learning. We can all learn, eternally, because he's a guru and we'll always be disciples. And that requires a discipleship and a commitment to eternal learning. So he teaches me to say Shukrana. He gives me this other next magical job that changes the next course of my life and what he plans for me. So, aise karte karte, I mean, there are so many even like little satsangs. I'll share a tiny one. Along this way, I started having headaches, and Guruji comes in my dream. And in my dream, I see I'm walking past a shop. And in that shop, you have the window part of the shop where you can see the wares in the window. It's actually multiple swarups of Guruji in the window. And in those swarups, Guruji is wearing glasses. And I was like, that's funny. That's odd. I've never seen Guruji wear glasses. And when I wake up, I realize I'm probably having headaches because my glasses ka number बढ़ गया hai. So yeah, so I realized that I need to get my eyes checked, and Guruji was indicating to me, go check your glasses, and that's connected to the headaches. And then I check my glasses. Like, look, every little thing about my own body. Mera cyst hai, your headache is my headache. Every little thing Guruji takes care of. And when I'm just too simple or not processing the meaning, he'll explain it to me. He'll come and like take the time to say, go do this. How caring, how loving, how present to every detail and every need. Anyways, I go to the optical store. I'm checking out the glasses, and there are 2-3 glasses, and I'm sending my friends the pictures. How about option 1? How about option 2? How about option 3? It's hard to make a decision. I'm there by myself, but I'm never by myself. It's always with me. And so it happens that at one of the pictures that I sent, instead of the glasses, a picture of Guruji appears on my phone, and I'm like, okay, ye glasses. Whatever is the picture after which Guruji's Swarup appeared, I'm like, that's the glasses I will choose. So he makes the decision to every detail. He makes the call. And then I don't have to think anymore. I take those glasses. A few months later, I moved to New York. So the glasses that would have been my second choice, that I was torn between should I take this or this, and then Guruji chose this, The other one, when I go to the office, the first intern I meet is wearing that second pair of glasses. So Guruji made it so that he gave me a unique pair. And that second, like I would have not had the same pair of glasses. There is a message or a meaning in there even. It's not just that it was about uniqueness. He knew I was going to go to New York wearing those glasses. He knew every step of the way and everything, he just like laid out the path. Anyways, I go there. This happened. Choti choti cheezon mein you see Guruji's plan and his far sight like coming together. Also in those early days, I move. There is no satsang here. There is no satsang in Manhattan. I'm staying in Manhattan. So I go to Jersey. It's really far. It takes me 2 hours. It takes me 1 to 2 trains, then a train on NG Transit that takes an hour, then a cab, or then a walk, or then something. It's like a 4-part journey, one way that takes me 2 hours. Then I'm there for 4 hours. Then I come back, it takes me another 2 hours. And I have and it was absolutely amazing and wonderful, and I needed it. And I'm just exhausted. But at the end of the day, it's been an 8 hour. And then I realized that when satsang was so easily accessible for me in Seattle, I had a car, it was a 20-minute drive. And then I used to feel mentally lazy because it was early in my journey. I used to think, oh, should I go to satsang? Oh, it's a drive, it's an effort. Should I go? Should I not go? Till the point that I'm like, I need it. And it's so easy. And that just the way Guruji, makes you realize perspective, how easy it was then that I thought I was making an effort. There was no effort. He had made it so easy for me. So then I'm just like, oh, what do I do? There's no satsang here. So the following week, a friend of mine is visiting from New York to Seattle. I'm staying at the home of friends, crashing with them for the first several months, who I know from Middle East where I grew up. And a friend visits me, and he's bringing actually some of my stuff that's left behind, a suitcase and all of that. And we are just like laying around talking, and I'm like, oh, it's Thursday. I feel so empty without Guruji on a Thursday. It feels really weird to me. I've been doing this now for a few years. I just keep talking about missing Guruji on a Thursday because my rhythm of going to satsang, and those satsangs in Jersey are on Saturdays, on the weekend, obviously, when everyone can travel and stuff. But I was so used to having it on a Thursday, and I was just missing it. So my friend is outside of it. Again, Guruji comes in all the ways and just asking me questions like, but what? But why this? So I keep explaining. I keep talking about Guruji. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I have a few shabads and play these shabads. Oh, this feels so good. I'm playing my favorite shabad. So Sadguru Pyara Mere Naal Hai. His beloved Guru is always near me. And I have a few shabads and like one Swarup of Guruji. And just in talking about missing Guruji and longing for him and how easy it was and how it is, and listening to those shabads, half my soul felt recharged. And I thought, oh, Adha Satsang ho gaya. This is half of Satsang. To listen to shabads and to talk about Guruji, even like laying around casually with a friend, I felt like half energized. And I thought, oh, why don't I just, sit with Guruji next time with the Swarup and just make it a bit more intentional. And I remembered all the satsangs Guruji had made me hear over the years, and how Usha Auntie's daughter, when she was moved to a city where there was no Sangat, she sat alone with Guruji and did satsang, and that is also possible. And I remember hearing that all you need is a Swarup of Guruji and a Jot. You can offer a Chai Prasad, Amrit Prasad. Ho gaya satsang. It's the intention and the devotion and sitting with Guruji that is needed. And I thought, okay, I can do that. We have the means for that. Guruji has, again, parents had given Swarupa Guruji. Mera kuch nahi tha. I had not prepared for anything, but I had received already what I would need. That's Guruji's magic. So the next week, I sat. I got some fruit and flowers. I made some pasta and chai prasad, played some shabads. One friend was out of the country, of the two I was staying with. The other friend was in the country but had a traveling job and would be traveling Monday to Thursday and would come back late Thursday night from a consulting job. But I knew she loved chai. So I was like, okay, at least if she has the chai prasad, and maybe she'll be hungry and she'll have the pasta too, it'll be like langar. So, I mean, of course, I offered it to Guruji, but there was something about it. Ek sangat bhi aa gayi thi, but she was in her bedroom and she had the chai prasad, the langar prasad. We had it separate times. Jo jaisa bhi tha. That was essentially a kind of, the first week was a half satsang, second week was a satsang. Then my other friend came back from the Middle East with her mother, and they had gotten connected to satsang from the satsang that had been organized, in the Middle East by then, by parents. But as per Guruji's will, who had said before that do satsang and serve people langar and people will be healed. Guruji keh ke gaye the. He had said this. So they had to also follow his command. He had laid out the path for how everybody had to get connected and blessed. So then auntie came and she said, well, why don't I make kada prasad? I said, oh, amazing. I'll make sandwiches. That was our level at that time. We didn't know. She made chai prasad, kada prasad, auntie made, and sandwiches. And the three of us who were connected to Guruji sat for satsang. And that is the beginning of how satsang got started, how Guruji got it started. And even then, when it started becoming, we were like, okay, we can do this again. Okay, we can do this again. We would do it. And just after work, try to make the darbar and make a simple langar, even a dal rice. Took us all so long. It was 3 people. Then it was 5 people. Then the roommate I ended up living with was Sikh and had done langar seva in a gurdwara since growing up, knew how to make full langar and rotis and everything. ऐसे भी गुरुजी का सत्संग हो गया. I remember when Hurricane Sandy came, my roommate was so prepared. She had made literally like things in advance. We lost power. I was out of town. Guruji spared me from that also. I did not experience that loss of power and stuff. But I came back on a Thursday to New York. This same Sangat friend came over. My roommate was there. The 3 of us spent the evening together and we had chai prasad and dal and everything on a Thursday. Guruji is just magic. He's just magic all the time. So Guruji makes his satsang happen. Everyone else is simply an arm or a leg, a medium for how that has to happen. So satsang started growing like that. And then slowly over time, Guruji planted more sangat, more sevadars. I remember there were just like some magical moments in that journey also. One day, one day I was, I don't know, like not well, either emotionally or physically suffering in some way. And I just called Usha auntie in Seattle, like crying, Guruji, auntie, I can't do it. I can't do it. How to do something? I can't do it. But it was Thursday. And auntie is so loving and kind. She's like one of my Sangat mothers. And she, auntie is never stern with me. And auntie was literally that they said, you can do it. And she basically said, get it together and do Guruji satsang. She's like, I have to go. We have to do satsang here. And it was just like Guruji saying, no time for all this. Move on. Do what you need to do. And it was just amazing. It was just like Guruji's blessing. It just has to be done. Whatever has to be done has to be done. I always used to tell my sister, "Main to nahi kar paungi. I can't do it." This was always the refrain. And even my dad would say, you're underconfident. And Guruji has said to me, you are more capable than you think. There's a lot of important words in that sentence, like the you and the you think. We need to not think so much. I definitely need to not think so much. Just do. Because Guruji does everything. When I do, or when I think that I am doing, I am limited, and I'm also in my I, ego, small self. But when I know that Guruji is doing everything, yeah, unlimited, complete. He's doing everything and he's infinite and limitless. And we are just allowing that energy to move through us in that moment to allow whatever needs to happen in the world to happen. It's not even about us. So that's how, it all happened. And then one day I was sitting, I'd come home from work. And that day I was having a high pain day from endometriosis. And I was just like unable to move. And I thought, how will we do this? How will I cook langar? So I just said, okay, let me take a nap from 6 to 7. Jo bhi tha, whatever time I came back in an hour. And then I'll wake up and we'll figure it out. To my great shock, in an hour, when I woke up from this nap, a Sangat from the Middle East was sitting in the armchair in my room. I did not know she was in the country. I didn't know she was in town. I didn't know she was going to come. She had visited a few months before. She was exploring moving back to New York. So she had my address. She showed up without communicating she was coming or anything. It was like magic. And I just woke up and I said, I cannot move. I cannot get out of bed. Where did you come from? This is what needs to happen. And she said, okay, I got it. So Guruji's, I just lose words at these moments. Nobody can understand what it feels like unless you've been through it. That when you're in pain, Guruji just sends you someone who you need. And it's not even there like to make his satsang happen, because so many people have to be blessed by that. So it's support for me, but it's also support for everyone. It's not about me. I just want everyone to really know that whenever we hear one person's satsang, we think it's that person's blessing. It's also that person's suffering and that person's journey. We don't want the suffering, we just want the blessing, right? So everyone has their own suffering and their own blessing. We all have our own journey. So many moments of complete magic like that. संगत बढ़ती गई, सत्संग होता गया, सेवादार गुरुजी भेजते रहे. He made the satsang, the sangat, the sevadar just grow and become a place of refuge, a sanctuary, a sangat. Guruji's presence grew in New York through this, because he had to bless hundreds of people. And this is such a chaotic, commercial, materialistic, beautiful, fun, vibrant city, but you can get lost in it without the anchor for your soul. And Guruji has given that soul, particularly to a lot of people. People often comment when they come to the New York, Manhattan Sangat, Satsang, they'll say, this is such a young Sangat. I'm surprised that people are, interested in spirituality at this age and stage. And it is a reflection that in a wild city like New York, Guruji's presence and power and love is so grounding to people of every age, from babies to elders to all the ages in between, that we're all like, I need this light, I need this love, I need this magic, I need this joy, I need this community that is about coming together as our highest self. Not just a community where I like seeing people, but a community that reflects our highest soul's aspiration and expression. A community where you grow, where you show up as your highest self, and by showing up like that consistently, you become your highest self. And you you grow, you raise your vibrations, or you grow in the spiritual journey, right? To evolve as a soul, to hopefully ultimately merge with his divine light and love. And it's a place of divine light and love. That people choose this over happy hours, people choose this over all the attractions of Manhattan. It's a miracle and a blessing, and it's a testament to his light. So my life, I mean, I'll come back to that concrete moment when I first moved, and it's like December, Jan. I'm in my brand new magical job Guruji has given me. And here's one of the first things that happens. So Guruji had blessed a kalash early on when I met him. And I still have that kalash. And I hadn't been washing it regularly. You have to wash it with lemon and salt, and only like the person and their family can touch it, and Guruji had blessed it. So I remember when I had come, I had a bag full of medicines. And then I was like, why am I back on these medicines? Guruji has blessed me. I have this kalash. I need to just dump the medicines and clean my kalash. I did that. I threw them all in the trash. I took the kalash and I washed it with nimbu and namak, lemon salt. And I thought, and actually, when I first saw, normally because of oxidization, when you wash it with that, it comes out like green. But in this instance, the water coming out was red. It was like a dark red. And I thought, oh, it's really been carrying some deep residue. It's almost like bloody water. So it came out, and I really thought, wow, this must be such clean, purified Amrit tomorrow, the nectar tomorrow after being cleaned. When I've seen what has come out of it, must be super pure and delicious and clean. Can't wait to have it. So I went to sleep. I got up, excitedly went to my clean kalash to drink the Amrit. And normally, it's like a little bit of water. So I just like drink it within like a minute or so, 30 seconds to a minute, and then I move on. I drank it, the first sip. It was so bitter. It was so harsh. I could barely take it down my throat. And it was so bitter. I had to stop. I went from standing about to be on the run to like sitting on the floor. It stilled me. And I sat down, and it took me a long time, maybe half an hour, to sip it so slowly in such tiny drops that I felt unable to push them past my throat, but I was pushing them past my throat, and drank it all. And by then felt really like I can't get up. It had the complete opposite effect of what I thought it would be. And then I felt so sick, like my stomach hurt so bad. And I either threw up or tried to prevent throwing up because I didn't want to lose the Amrit. As bitter as it was, I was like, this is my Amrit. And I tried to keep it inside my body. And I just felt so sick that I had to call in sick to my new work within my first 2 weeks of work. And having just moved here, it was December 2011, I remember. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm sick, I can't come. And then I went back to take a nap. This is also something I never do, is take a nap. So I go to sleep at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have a darshan of Guruji. It was a very profound darshan that I can't quite re-explain. But the takeaway of that message was, there is a being inside of you. It can either be you, I, me, my ego self, or it can be him. It cannot be both. That was the message. You have to decide if I will live here or if he will live here. That's it. I was profoundly clarified by this dream. I was like, yeah, can't be both. Still a lesson, an ongoing lesson. He says things, but it can take years to practice those things. Listening is only the first part of the journey. To shabads, I'll say this to everybody who is, English speaking and English understanding. Many of us do not understand the words in the shabads that are in Punjabi, or things that even like Guruji said, like I said, he used to talk to me and I didn't understand it. But if you listen, what Guruji has asked us to do, and he said this, I said, listen, not understand. He will make you understand. Our job is to listen. So when he says something, whether it's the shabads or it's a satsang or it's this like dream darshan and a profound message he delivered to me, I thought, yeah, so the medicines, right? It's like either I can think I'm in charge of my health, I will go to the doctor is in charge of my health, I will take these medicines. Or I can just be like, whatever you say, Guruji. You took me on a path away from doctors. Let me keep trying to come back to you and not the doctors. Medicines work and doctors work when Guruji blesses. And I will share another satsang later on about how he blessed the doctors in my life at another point. At that point, that my journey was to have more surrender and faith in him. So I dumped all the medicines and was like, okay, I need to keep this kalash clean. And the kalash is a representation of the vessel of your body and your soul. You need to keep yourself clean. And I don't mean in this purest kind of way, do this, don't do this. I mean in a pure intentions, pure hearted kind of way. Do good to people, think good about people, wish well for people. When Guruji said, go out of your way to help people, do that. If you could have helped people and you didn't, only you know that. And only God knows that. Nobody will know that. That's how you keep your heart pure and your heart in discipleship with him. It's between you and him. You help me or someone else, they won't know. Maybe I could have used the help, maybe someone else. We can only do the best, and only he knows what is our best, and only he knows what we're capable of. Remember, he said to me, capable of more than you think. When I have believed him over my own doubts, things go much better and much more beautiful, blessed, abundant things happen. Much more happens than what I thought was possible. It can only be one, not me. So it's him. So if he thinks something grand is possible, I just have to say, yes, where do I begin, Guruji? Where should we start? So he just, took control of my health. I'll finish this health journey. Okay, so continuing with like the suffering of endometriosis, immense amounts of incredible pain. I never took medication for it because I was afraid of hormonal medicines, and I just didn't, for some reason, I was like, I'm more natural. I don't want to do this. I thought I'd gone off medicines. So I was okay taking natural stuff, but I didn't want to take something hormonal. Whatever my reasons is my stuff, right? So at some point, fast forward in 2019. In 2019, a few months before then, I started having a sharp pain on my side, on my like right side near my ovaries. Right side, left side, yeah, and it's just a lot of sharp pain. It would be very sharp, but it would throb and come and go. So as I used to do, I was like, nazar andaz. I was like, oh, it'll go away. It's fine. It's fine. Didn't tell anyone much. Didn't make a fuss of it. I was so used to managing also chronic pain on my own and being alone with it for so many years that, and my family lived far. They worried a lot. Didn't tell anyone anything. Then my mom went through a huge experience. That's her satsang, or I'm also happy to share it another time. But in that journey, when she was on life support and ICU, we were all obviously so stressed and in so much fear and in faith and surrender and just going through another big spiritual catalyzing, transformative journey. When she came from the ICU to the regular ward, I had started to sleep in her room on, we just kind of installed like a little mattress, and she was still had a tracheostomy. She couldn't talk, and she had been in the ICU lights for so long, and she was really healing and scared and didn't want to be alone. And nobody wanted to leave her alone. And, but I also felt in those nights, we used to just play shabads. There was GuruJi's Darbar in a hospital room. We used to play shabads day and night. The mantra jap used to play in her ICU. Nurses would put a drop of amrit on her tongue. Everything helped. But ultimately, she's his disciple. It's between them. If he had taken her, he would have taken her. He didn't take her then. Her work, her seva was not done. Her karma, whatever, her journey was not complete in this form at this time. And we were glad to have, even though it could be moksha and all that, but as a human child, we're glad to have her with us for now. And so I started but I was absorbing everything. All the like fear, stress, worry, everything. And the pain in my body started increasing massively every day. And it became consistent. From coming and going, it became steady. And I started feeling like something is wrong. She was literally had nearly died. I didn't even know how to say something is wrong with me. Let me add to the family problems. And I think I felt a lot of guilt that I had added to the family problems for a long time. I just didn't want to worry anyone or do anything, take more attention, whatever, my own stuff. So then finally it got so bad, and mom was doing better. She was well enough that I was going to leave. I had been there for some time. My sister was going to come, and I had to finish my coaching program in the US. And if I didn't go to that next weekend, I wouldn't be able to graduate. And Guruji had also put me on a path of purpose, right, professionally. That matters to me. So I was like, I must go and finish this. And okay, everything's going to be fine. But I was like, okay, if I'm going back to work into finishing things and going straight from the hospital into my course, let me at least get tested. What is happening? So on the last day, with 24 hours to go, I finally confessed to my father that I'm in a lot of physical pain and I maybe need an MRI. So he moves mountains as he does. And with the help again of doctors, Sangat, Guruji's blessing, I get an MRI. The MRI shows that I have multiple large cysts in both ovaries and I need surgery immediately. They're right on the cusp of like surgery or rupture. They're like 4-5 centimeters, which is quite large. So if it's 1-2 centimeters, it's small. 3 is medium. Keep an eye on it. Get tested regularly or go on medication. 4-5 is like rupture risk, which is dangerous. It can be fatal because then the matter that is inside it, which is like blood and fluid, spills onto your vital organs and you could die. So I hear this alone with the doctor. I can't process it. It's so terrifying to me. My mom is still in the hospital. I can't process that either. So I go and meet. This is another moment. I go and meet a doctor, surgeon who is an endometriosis specialist, who's a gynecologist, who's a Sangat doctor. And she says, you probably need to go on this medication immediately. And I say, no. This is the decision I make. I go back to the US with no medication and no intervention on what I know is a high risk situation. I'm just frozen. I'm not able to process, and inaction is not a good choice. But this is what happens. I go back, I go through the course, it's in LA. Then I go back to my life in New York. Now I'm in so much pain all the time. My 2 best friends have to drag me to the ER. I'm refusing to go to the hospital. They drag me to the ER. They escort me to the ER. And even when we get to the ER, I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a little better. Let's go to lunch instead. And they're like, you've got to be kidding us. So we go to the ER. The doctor says the cyst is now 6 centimeters. You need immediate emergency surgery. It's early April now. And I'm like, what? I'm panicking. So, but I refused to do surgery, the second surgery in the US. And I continue working. I feel bad. I've already been off work. I've been in the hospital and with my mom, and I'm just feeling pulled in many directions. And this is all the right? I don't know if I just been like, Guruji, what should I do? I don't know what would have happened. It's not what I did. And ultimately, the pain gets so bad and things get so serious. I was going to go back to the Middle East eventually to switch off with my sister, but I just go back earlier. And I'm like, okay, I'll do surgery there. Maybe we could just do another like light laparoscopic, not so invasive surgery, and they can remove the cyst. And okay, fine, I accept I need surgery. It's fine. And I see several doctors in my week here in New York. And then I go back. I'm in so much pain that I'm on painkillers around the clock by now. The doctors have advised me not to travel or to take a 12, 14 hour, 20-hour journey to the Middle East. And I do it anyways. I literally am in a wheelchair at the airport and they're like, are you okay? Because if you're not okay, you can't travel. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm just minimizing it just so I can make it there. And by God's grace, the pain that is so intense is not that intense for those 12 hours of the journey. I make it. I make it there. And by another great grace, blessing, miracle, I've reached on April 13th. It's Baisakhi. And the vibe in the house, mom is alive. We're so grateful. And it's so festive. It's so beautiful. There's a lot of love and excitement, all the yellow, the golden, the harvest, the energy of Guruji. Actually, this chola is also from Baisakhi Satsang, which is just like April 13th, like a week ago. And it's what a miracle. None of these things are coincidences. It is April 20th now. It was a week ago. It was Baisakhi. Guruji is reminding me a lot of this connection I didn't make, but here we are. And I'm so happy. I'm magically happy, as I always am, in Guruji's vibe, which is there when his Sangat is present and is preparing for his Satsang and his celebration. I'm not on painkillers. I've been on consistent painkillers. I've been in so much pain. But in this magical day of Baisakhi, I'm just doing seva. I'm singing and dancing. I'm happy. I'm with the Sangat all day. We have this beautiful Satsang. We dance. It's completely blissful and blessed, and it goes by wonderfully. And it's like I have no physical problem going on. It's just magic. This is His grace, His protection. The next morning at 9 a.m., my sister takes me to get an ultrasound to the local clinic where we'll meet our Sangat doctor. And we've just gone like in my normal clothes for the person. We're like, okay, she'll do an ultrasound. She'll probably tell us I need surgery. We'll schedule surgery a week out or something. When you get to the hospital, she says, the cyst is massive. It's 8 centimeters now. It's the size of a grapefruit. It's gone way past what could have been removed lightly. It's infected. I nearly have septicemia. And there's a high risk of blood poisoning. And I have somehow danced through all of this. And I cannot leave the hospital. And then she says, we need to put you on, there's an infection spreading through your body. We need to put you on antibiotics right away. So to put me on antibiotics, they do a skin test of multiple antibiotics. I turn out allergic to all of them. So the first one is penicillin. I'm the most allergic to it. It's the most common antibiotic. And then they do a second one and a third one and a fourth one, and my skin reacts to all of them. I've gotten admitted at 9 a.m. It's 4 p.m. now. I'm still neither on painkillers. I'm dying of pain. And neither am I on antibiotics, but the hospital also can't let me go. And I literally have nothing but the clothes I'm wearing. And it's a whole hustle and bustle in the family. My sister has to go back. Now my dad is involved. Mom is in her thing at home. I'm here. We're having a massive family kind of adjustment and crisis and reckoning again. And by 4 o'clock, the doctor says, Sangha doctor, she's like, we can't wait anymore. Let's just get an EpiPen. Let's just put the antibiotic in. And if she has a reaction, we'll see. We'll deal with it. Again, by some miracle, we take the antibiotic I'm least allergic to, and I don't have a reaction. Not a life-threatening one anyways. And I'm just hospitalized. I don't go home. I'm lying there in that hospital like all the time. My mom is at home with full-time nursing care. And none of us are able to relieve my poor, sister, her kids, her husband, her job, my father. What is everyone going through? To watch both of us back to back be in the situation. And anyways, another reckoning. Even the little one, my sister's daughter, my sister is trying to spend the nights in the hospital with me, and she's so torn. She has to leave little kids at home while she's working remotely and taking care of mom. And one day, my little niece, she blocks her path and she says, no, Mama, you stay home with me. And then my sister says, but then who will stay with Masi in the hospital? And Meera says, Guruji's with Masi. Even the little ones know. They just know the whole time, all the time. They're like, yeah, Guruji's with Masi all the time. He's with all of us. Guruji's there. So we're all somehow miraculously held through this time. Everything happens. I'm on medication by the time I come out of that surgery, and I have open abdominal surgery. I'm fairly awake and aware through it. And anyways, whatever has to happen, happens. I go into it with shabads and mantra jap, and it's a Sangha doctor. Everything happens. I come out of it. I'm on medication for the next 5 years. I go off medication, and by God's grace, I'm like touching everything, whatever, I don't know, Jai Guruji, I'm fine. I'm not in pain. The amount of pain I used to have that debilitated my life for 30 years, I'm just not in that kind of pain anymore. Through the medication and once I go off the medication. Last year, in July, when I visited my parents and I got another ultrasound with the same doctor, she was so delighted. I had been off medication for 3 months. And she said, I've never seen you look better from the inside. Everything like clean scan results. There were experiences in between them. I'll tell you, the two very important experiences are at some point in the middle, I'd been having nausea for months, intense nausea. Couldn't eat anything. I just had nausea all the time. And I thought, is this a side effect of the medication? Can I switch medications? Can I go off of medication? And then I had a dream in which me and mom are walking to the hospital because I have to get admitted. And mom, because she had a lung thing, she's breathless. We're climbing uphill and she's losing her breath. So ultimately, I have to go to the hospital alone by myself. Alone, not alone, with him always, but not conscious, not aware. So she's no longer there. I see myself enter a hospital room. It's a dark, dank, small room, very depressing place. There's nobody in it. Maybe somebody is on a computer. And I've checked myself into the hospital. In the next scene, in broad daylight, my mom is coming like a force with everybody. My dad and whoever else, like beloveds, sister and other people are coming. They're walking towards the hospital. If that's the hospital door, they're like coming from there and then walking in this way. What they don't see is that right next to my mother, Guruji's walking. Guruji's wearing peacock colored chola. It's like dark blue and like dark green. It's really beautiful. He's wearing these flowing like silk peacock robes. And he's walking equally fast next to my mother, but she can't see him. He's always walking beside us. We don't see him. So you have to just, I don't know that, remember that, feel that. So until this point, he's walking and she doesn't sense his presence. So she keeps walking, he stops. A medical professional comes in scrubs the color of Guruji's chola. So like Guruji's wearing a blue top, this person is wearing a blue top. Green bottoms, this person is wearing green bottoms. Whereas normally scrubs are the same color, right? It's all green or all red or whatever all. This person is wearing scrubs, the color of Guruji's chola, parallel. You don't see this person's face. They have a curly head of hair. And Guruji like puts an arm, his arm on the back of this person's arm like this. And I see him impart his energy. I just see in that action what he's doing. With that arm, now we don't see Guruji anymore. That person walks inside the hospital, walks into the hospital room where I'm now lying down in a bed. My family is sitting around me. Everyone is looking disturbed. I am clearly deeply suffering. I'm in a lot of distress, physical, emotional distress, pain. I'm just really going through it. And this person takes that hand that has the energy and puts it on my head from above. And peace spreads throughout my whole body and my being. Guruji showed me this, and he came through a medical professional and he healed me. The hand on my head. It's nothing to worry about. After that, I continued going through this intense nausea, but I became not worried. So Guruji changes your perspective. You will go through what you have to go through. This is important to know. But now I know that Guruji's hand is on my head. He is healing me. I don't need to worry. This is just happening. My attitude towards it changes completely. And the other important thing that happens, I keep trying to contact endometriosis specialists, and it's very hard to get, as folks from the US in particular might know, it's very hard to get medical appointments here, particularly with specialists, particularly in a timely manner. So I'm getting appointments for 3, 4, 5, 6 months out. This is like October-ish. I'm getting appointments for like January, which is not helpful to me in that moment. So finally, I get an appointment with a nurse practitioner for sooner, within like 2, 3 weeks. And I remember that who I had seen in my dream was not a doctor, because doctors don't wear scrubs. Doctors wear white coats. And I thought, Guruji ki marzi, it's his will. So I have this appointment. Actually, it's amazing because it's a virtual consult. I don't have to physically go anywhere, no effort. And instead of the usual rushed 5 minutes after you waited for 2 to 3 hours, I have a 45-minute appointment where this person asks me all the questions. I ask her all my questions, answers all my questions. We explore all the options for changing medication. She asks me various things like, are you having this kind of pain? Are you having that kind of pain? Are you having this kind of thing? Are you having that? I was like, no, 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 no. And by the end of it, I realized, and she says to me, actually, your endometriosis is pretty well managed. You're in a pretty good situation. That changes my perspective completely. I realize that even in my minor pain, this is what it means that Guruji takes your kasht, your pain, and reduces it to 10% of what you would have been going through and what you were and could have been going through. So I realized that Guruji has blessed me, and this minor, now it looks to me so minor. It was so all-consuming when I was like, why is this happening? This is so much. I'm so uncomfortable. What's wrong? Is something going wrong? Am I unstable again? And Guruji is like, no, this is just like a little 10% of a thing you have to deal with. And all I got from that is like, things are going pretty well. Don't worry. Just get back to your basic health routines. Like the things that I do, like eat more fruit, drink more water, take my walks. And I'm sharing this satsang now is not a coincidence, because I've fallen out of some of my health routines in the last couple of weeks again. And hence I have this little cold, cough, right? These like discomforts of the body being out of balance. Guruji is reminding me, you need to get back to your health routines. Whatever you do, your little stretching, movement, the things that keep a human body healthy need to be done. Guruji is very practical. We are made up of earthly materials while we are on earth, and we need to do the things that have earthly benefits for us. So just carry on, keep doing that. So I need to do that. And these are the ways in which Guruji just like blessed me and completely restored and transformed my health as well. And this is a bulk of the massive, concrete, life-changing blessings I've received from Guruji. There are obviously thousands more. Whenever Guruji wishes it or wills it, those will get shared as well. There are ongoing miracles and blessings. But the thing that I'd like to end with is that Guruji's love is infinite. I love seeing this message of sabr, patience. As you might have seen from my journey, the vitiligo that we thought was a health problem that we went to Guruji for nearly like 20 plus years ago, many, many, many years ago, was actually not a problem. What we think is the problem is not the problem. The levels of crises we have to go through and discovery of what actually, I had a visible disease that had no pain. I had an invisible disease that had a massive impact on my life. And Guruji actually, through destruction, sometimes, as this form of Shivji often does, reveals what had to be revealed in order to get cleaned up, in order to evolve into the purer form, right? Like the process of like burning, like fire removes impurities from metals. This spiritual fire, the spiritual pain, whether it's physical or emotional, right? Whether it's illness or heartbreak or financial loss or loss of a loved one, whatever it is, ultimately all the other things kind of fall away, and your pure soul, pure essence, and only what is really pure and essential, which is divine light, divine love, divine grace. And then there is no separation between you and him. His light, you can't separate light, right? Like when the flames merge, there is no like this is this jyot and there is that. There is no separation. There is no separation when one is connected with him. We're just like antennas of his broadcast. We're just tuning or allowing ourselves to become channels of his messages, his grace, his love, his power. We just stop being anything else and we just allow him to take form or to take over or to spread his love wherever it has to go. And in doing that, we are so blessed. We are so blessed. बहुत बहुत शुक्राना Guruji. Like I feel beloved and blessed, and I feel like I'm still a disciple of his love. Like how to love, and he said to me also like love sangat. That's part of his message. I think that sometimes, I think for like people like me, I'm twice divorced. I had another marriage. I had another divorce, and both of these were love marriages, right? So it's not a question like of like, oh, people often wonder, was it arranged or what, it's me, meri marzi nahi thi. It's not like that. It was my will, my wish, but it's not my will because it was my will and not his will. So I think sometimes we look for love in a human form, like a partner. Sometimes we look for it from a child or a parent or a best friend or a sibling. I too have looked for love in all of these places. But when I looked for the most incredible love in one human, it was not perfect because we are not perfect. Neither am I. I have not loved anybody perfectly. So we will always be human. And in that sense, like ignorant, things we don't know, undisciplined, learning, all that stuff, that's normal. It's like, no, I don't see this with judgment. I see this with self-forgiveness and grace, like with humility. Like we have to be okay with that. And we have to be, and hence we have to be willing to learn and grow. And then Guruji showed me through all of these lifetime of experiences that I've shared with you, his love is infinite, abundant, precious, beautiful, gem-like, permanent. It's just like there is no beginning and no ending. I don't know when we were not in his love, and I hope we'll never be out of it. It's just there is no beginning and there is no end. That is asli cheese. Asli cheese means the real thing. Guruji used to say, people come to me, they ask for these materialistic things, these finite things, like a job or a partner or a kid and all this stuff. That's not the real thing. The real thing is to receive him. And if we are connected to him, we've already received his grace. It's available to us. It's up to us to choose to be in it. Like with any relationship, choose to cultivate that relationship, choose to lean into that relationship, choose to hold up your end of it, which is to like love and listen and have a balance and a compromise and all of the things. This is the ultimate relationship. This is the ultimate place you could come to. This is the ultimate peace. It's the ultimate bliss. This is everything. Being sitting at his feet, getting to love him, be loved by him. There is nothing more. There is nothing sweeter. There is nothing better. And sometimes even when it's bitter, it's for your purifying. You know, bitter foods in nature actually are cleansing in the liver or whatever. Doctors will know better, but everything has a purpose. Everything in nature has a purpose. And all forms of Guruji's love are medicine for us. When he scolds us, when he puts us through difficult things, when he's sweet to us, and then when you come to a place where it's just so sweet. But don't take it for granted. We are always still learning. We're always capable of making mistakes. And so I also just pray, Guruji, keep me in your will. May I not separate from that. That's my hope and intention and wish. So thank you, Guruji, for all of your light and patience in teaching us. We think sometimes we have to be patient in receiving his blessings. I only recently had a glimpse of the realization that he allowed me to have. How patient is he to tolerate all of our ignorance and innocence and mistakes and attempts to learn, to be beginners, then to go to the next level, then to go to the next level, and then multiply that by his endlessly growing sangats. How patient is he? That, I don't think we can fathom that. So patience is required for the journey of faith and for the realness of love. His love is real. So we must also be patient and faithful in our love. So thank you, Guruji, for all of it, for everything. Jai Guruji.